Sunrise goes crazy, crashes with the tides. My goes hazy, hanging up to these more lines. Waves are racing, who can first start this capsize? Communicating with 20, 30 wave size. Then four grenades at the port side. Rudders broken, navigation for life. Now I'm simply a passenger on this dark ride. Find peace or try. Was an empty child, seeing suitable chastise. Water tables, turntables, and sink to demoralize. Fight, strife, hurt, and pride. Call me out like not reply. I'm in awe of this danger. I used to feel whole man on scene. Now I'm a stranger. My odysseys are out of me. No go to please, just fleeting peace. I'm trekking down and tossed around. Now screaming outside to release me from this pain. I feel so weak. Don't know as I should know. And now I'm at the peak. It's got to be me bleeding. Y'all finally this looking. It's me to pull out a large piece. Slow bleeding out the giant demon strategy. Was chasing this pharmacy. Now I tried to go farther without the help from my father. Cause I didn't need no more fossils. Stay on the W fathers. Yeah. See, now I tried to go farther without the help from my father. Cause I didn't need no more fossils. Stay on the W my well. I tried to go farther without help from my father. See, now I ain't got no more time for this. Johnny Tsunami can't get me out of this. I don't need no fairy tales. Need some breath to excel. Living in hell. Someone the death knell. Warrior fell. Beast that goes in the shell. Was cracking under his pressure. Cause all he did was just fail. Never said you was good enough. Shrug it off with no wells. Looking inside of my broken heart. He was seeing me wells. I felt the wall on my back. With heavy shoulders. Felt the wood in my grass. Could feel the boulders. And now the dark is my trap. Smelling like sulfur. Where's the light in the map? It's getting colder. Let me get to the valley and shadow of death. But now I feel so alone. Can't see my shepherd, he left. I submitted shadow boxing with the devil to death. Complicated my meanings like it was my head when it's still above. I see on the horizon. I see the waves. I see the waves. I see the waves. I see the waves. Yeah. I'll take his hands above all the waves. Yes, I see the waves. Yes, I see the waves. Lord, I look up to the sky and I know that I'm straight. I can't remember the words, so all I do is just pray. With my head down, eyes low, just begging for grace. And then I look up to you, and all I see is your face. You look me down with love and say my son, please be brave. My Savior stands on top of the waves. 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 Chaos erupts, crashes into the sunrise, goes crazy, crashes into the tides. My goes hazy, hanging out to the more lines. Waves are racing, the first of this capsize. Into the homeside, runners broken, navigation for life. Now I'm simply a passenger on this dark ride. Find peace or try. Was an empty child, seeing suitable chastise. Water tables, turntables, and sink to demoralize. Fight, strife, hurt, and pride. Call me out, like not reply. I'm in awe of this danger. I used to feel whole man on scene. Now I'm a stranger. My eyes are out of me. No go to please, just fleeting peace. I'm trekking down and tossed around. Now screaming outside to release me from this pain. I feel so weak. Don't know as I should know. And now I'm at the peak. It's got to be me bleeding. Y'all find the link this week. It's me to pull out a large piece. Slowly think out the giant demon strategy. Was chasing this pharmacy. Now I tried to go farther without the help from my father. Cause I didn't need no more fossils. Stay on the W we embarkers. Yeah. See, now I tried to go farther without the help from my father, cause I didn't need no more bosses. They all end up being my oh well. I tried to go farther without help from my father. See, now I ain't got no more time for this. Johnny Tsunami can't get me out of this. I don't need no fairy tales. Need some breath to excel. Living hell. Someone the death knell over your fell. Beast that goes in the shell was cracking under his pressure, cause all he did was just fail. Never said you was good enough. Shrugged it off for no wells. Looking inside of my broken heart, he was seeing through wells. I felt the wood on my back, the heavy shoulders. Felt the wood in my grasp, could feel the boulders. And now the dark is my trap, smelling like sulfur. Where's the light in the map? It's getting colder. Let me get to the valley, the shadow of death. And now I feel so alone. Can't see my shepherd, he left. I survey the shadow boxing with the devil and death. Complicating my feelings like it was my heaven and still above. I see a little light. I see the waves. I see the waves. I see the waves. I see the waves. Yeah. Yes, I see the waves. Yes, I see the waves. Lord, I look up to the sky and I know that I'm straight. I can't remember the words, so all I do is just pray. With my head down, eyes low, just begging for grace. And then I look up to you, and all I see is your face. You look down with love and say, myself, please be brave. My Savior's things on top of the waves. Top of the waves. Top of the waves. Top of the waves, top of the waves, top of the waves, top of the waves. He stands on top of the waves. What's like he stands on top of the waves? Black mama cried, black brother died, whites are in his eyes, as he sees the sky. I wonder if he'll fly, or know if I should fly. Do you believe the line, or are we drinking? Black boys sipping on the Kool-Aid, the shepherd died. Oh, purple stains on the jogger suits and the bow tie. Mass suicide, sitting at your suicide. See, I left the pew. All I could do was catch the Father's eyes. Thank God the searchlight found me. Praise the most. I tried to find what hope that we find. We lay in the grinds under the dirt we pie. Light in the darkness, picking apart the artist. Never claimed to brush cause you never had a stroke. Inside the living water, peace upon the Father float. For God is gonna let the heart upon the broken boat. And now will we fly or just say goodbye? Try to find whatever hope we find. We climb on the Zion and die on the green and over the crayons. They take away disease. Instead become a silence, feel this mental under me. Warm on the outside, callous in the middle. Texture like sack, rugged treasures as a griddle. Tell that Mick, we got another bone to pick. Back the pipes, kill the wires. The motherland is sick, I see.
Waves upon a tropical shore. Wash upon the pelicans and use coming off to see the evidence of poison, the evidence of these rappers that are not using rap sticks to get the plastic out of the mouths of the tic-tac-tac. Small kids, tip-tat, knock you back at tennis court concessions. Governmental sanity, whitewashed White House, and baby pack of piety.
Try to find the hope that we find. Relate in the grinds rather than dirt we pie. Light in the darkness.
Picking apart the artist, never claimed to brush cause you never had a stroke. Inside the living water, peace upon the Father float. For God is God that left the heart upon the broken boat.
And now will we fly or just say goodbye?
Or just say goodbye.
Or just say goodbye. Or just say goodbye. Or just say goodbye. Or just say goodbye.
Yeah,
Or just say goodbye.
or to say goodbye. Yeah.
Black boy sipping on the Kool-Aid, the shepherd died.
Purple stains on the jacket suits all the time. Yeah.
Mass suicide, sitting mass suicide. Yeah. Left the view, all I could do was catch up on his eyes. Thank God the searchlight found me. You tried to find a hope
They'll be fine. You lay in the grind, grind up the dirt we pie. Light in the darkness, picking apart that artist. Never claimed to brush, cause you've never had a stroke. Inside the living water, piece upon the father float. Forgot his daughter, left the heart upon the broken boat. And now will we fly or just say goodbye? Say goodbye. I hope y'all can hear it, because it's gonna be awkward when I play this music and y'all can't hear it. It's gonna be more awkward if y'all heard me singing during the song. When the live is completed, I will make sure I put a link in so that you guys can skip all this beginning stuff, so that you guys can get to the actual video itself. So at least I'm hoping so. I'm not sure exactly how live works on YouTube. I think they might delete it. If they do, then I'll figure something out. But I'll put it on something. It'll be on the platform. I really hope so. Because it's going to be real awkward because y'all could be coming in looking at a boy talking to himself. Otherwise, that is my tea. I'll be right back.
As I engage the shelly woman, I said no way. I try to manipulate just to get play. Look, I was at the center of the window. I relate to this unthankful thing. I got to slay. Kept my values all the way until the marriage day. I had to post some kind of way to modern day. No Marvin Gaye, no hunting prey. I would blunt and pray. I was never blunt to babe. I hate the word, by the way. Babe. It's such a shame what we say. The nicknames that pale to the flowers in the sun. Especially when all they're talking about is cracking guns. And in the beginning, all we did was have fun. I don't believe in the war, but it was love at first listen, and I could not stop. I fell in love with a woman named Hip Hop.
Anybody joining in? No? Okay, good.
See, now I'm dropping on a Sunday in a Hyundai with a Hyundai, trying to think about if I play, but I'm living my play. Got some Mondays, so I don't hate. I just take a sip of my shit. Wait, what's your name again? I forgot when I picked you up from your spot. Just got another half hour, but been have some fun in the summer sun. Bet got another old girl seat, so I better run. Yeah, jet and coast. Stop the cruise in Cantina with a Spanish dime, it looks like Pampria. Take a toast with the dose of sangria. Got a most when I'm alone with my chica. Now what is her name? Oh man, I'm just
10 minutes, y'all. 10 more minutes.
So glad that I own it, or do I? There's one to life I find it, but ain't no use to whine and said it. There's one to life I find it, but ain't no use to whine, ain't no use to whine. There might be some more of this. Oh, let's see y'all, nigga. Penny white, give a dog a bone. I'm living post alone on my post alone. Post alone, I ain't going home, cause the next one's got a heartbeat sangria. Trying to find my old girl, black love chica. Take it back, if I never do that, I got too much in store. I'm talking candy store, I'm the poster boy for taking toys to my home and joy is working mortgage and love's a chore. Might as well look for gold rush more. Live for a moment, I really own it. I'm just zoning, I'm just gone. Can I take you home?
I see, I'm just living life for the moment.
Should glad that I own it, or do I? There's one to life, I ain't find it, but ain't no use to whine and say that. There's one to life, I ain't find it, ain't no use to whine and more to this life, might need a little more life here. Computer screens, companies, kept the shit in the dark. Breathing this atmosphere with the legacy. Wake up, old sons, like no fun. My singer, we both talking. Perspectives that lay fire for covering some.
All the battle cry calls, but valves, top girls, flicking stars. Go see my shell, listen, I'm making this Berkeley and it's feeling well.
Splitting into the iron shawl, you too. College charity in my heart and it's true love too. The singing muses are all that explode in my world. I am thankful for a God who says me too. Mewtwo's can't clone what Jesus do. He's a lion in the cage that took on the rage. Now he's breaking down the barriers and freed us too. Yes, I think it's gonna be a long, long time before the right words come in to free my mind. But until then,
Oh, that's good, bro.
and hope to God that the Lord will come down and save. Of course, he will. I'm not just your average man. I'm the man with the and sovereign plan.
Call me a soldier, more like a soldier.
Living my land, my life in his hands.
Born in with the life of my own, and now I'm taking it back.
From the devil's hands, and now we salty keyboard stands. I'm breaking through with the praises and lifted hands. So water's on, don't get twisted. The wind's blowing in the tumbleweeds, the dawn is near. I have no fear, the champ is here. He changed my life, and now I'm listed. Shifting the culture with my words because they're sifted. Take time with your rhymes and the books like crimes. They won't rust in the lime. You can trust them with the palm, but the crust turned you mine. Then you crust it into lime. Just remember you have his words. You are mine, and I am yours as I draw this sword and I take on the world with its conquered lords. I'm just striving for the prize we are warring towards. It's my Lord. It's gonna be a long, long time before the right words come in to free my mind. But until then,
All I'll do is pray. I hope to God that the Lord will come down and save. Got about 6 more minutes, y'all. 6 more minutes. Call me a soldier, like a soldier. You're living my life, oh, I'm living my life in his hands.
See, I was was born in the 90s with the no school time swag. Show him that plus the rock man, he's bringing them back. Just a hip hop, a skip and a jump away. I love those 80s days, man, they just blinked my brain. I was just born in the 90s with those school time swag. Show him that plus the rock man, he's bringing them back. I love those 80s days, they blink my brain. I was born in the 90s with the no school swag. I show him that plus the rock man, he's bringing them back. Hip hop, a skip and jump away. I love those 80s days, man, they blink my brain. I was just born in the 90s with the no school time swag. Show him that plus the rock man, he's bringing them back.
About 5 more minutes, sure. 5 more minutes. That's what I guess there's people watching. If not, I have no idea. No, for sure. I would not know.
ASAP said it's not a purse, it's a statue. And I think about the rap rules that dictate the traps that slack fools. Spinning within, behold, the rhyming gin is splitting the shins of men that are running in place, going nowhere but got the ends. I will take the marks. A's, B's, and C's. I'm living outside the dark, know what that is. But this vital got me crashing. I'm drinking again, I'm thinking it mends my heartbeat. But
Heart beats what heart speaks, so it's not a purse or a satchel, and it's not my pen, it's my scalpel. Suture chicken caboodle, fixing my noodle with rhyming lines that are suitable. So break some flu goals like them Zoobie from the flute bowl.
I'm throwing Hail Marys up in the sky, hoping that they arrive. I'm taking time with my ties, my first fruits are the best group so far as I got golden from the mud. I'm spotted like a leopard and pure, but under scepter, interceptor missiles for my treasures of pleasure I get when I know that I don't measure and compare to the armor bear. Bearing my arms, I've got freedom to write. I express all this spite of no security and self-righteous figures that's cursing up in my light as I stand in dark in the plight, but take flight. It's all in the fight, man. It's all in the fight.
Got about 3 minutes down. 3 minutes down.
Sitting in my room with those sleep tablets, spitting by my rooms and choosing not to have it. I split inside a paradox, I'm boosting out of habit. I fit inside a paradox, I heart this one and laughing. I'm sick of all the laughing with a sparking heart with magic. I'm sparking heart with matches. I'm sparking dark and lavish. The light that I inhabit, the mind I had in past tense. Screaming sense and similes, the light that Jesus sent in me.
Out.
I'm screaming, I'm scheming demons, I'm speaking the truth. I'm painting, I'm preening, meaning to pick on my boo. I'm dreaming, intending not to divorce what you do.
Taking my time, taking my rounds with me too.
You're speaking my darkness, I speak of you too. Taking the partless, I'm
Hit them through.
I'm hearing my heartless, someone try and get you. I'm hearing my heartless, never get you. And it's a long way back to where we go. From here we go, but I don't know. I take you back to Holy Rose, so friend, my son, you still gon' grow. And it's a long way back to where we go. From here we go, but I don't know. I'll love you through the lonely road. So friend, my son, you still gon' grow.
2 more minutes, y'all.
Still
Okay. All right, about 30 more seconds. Alrighty. Alrighty. Hey, what's up, y'all? So this is my second live that I'm doing again. It is called My Wrong Opinion. I'll explain that later, but it's part of a little live show that I'm going to be trying to do more consistently from here on out. It turns out I really liked the first live that I did. And so I wanted to, before we get started into what I was going to do for today and the things I was going to talk about, I wanted to kind of give y'all an insight on kind of the format of the show and what we're going to be doing next. Because I remember last time when I did it, it was kind of disjointed, unorganized a little bit. And I was kind of rambling, partially because of how passionate I was about the topic. But also I just realized I got to be more, at least a little bit more streamlined. I allow for opportunity to kind of go off the rails a little bit. But what I wanted to do specifically is make sure that I'm at least somewhat more organized. So that's going to start with a couple of things. So I'm going to let you guys know the format of what it's going to look like from here on out. And again, I'm going to try my best to be consistent with this. But, I mean, as we all know, things can change and we don't know what's going to go on, how it's going to go down, things like that. So with that being said, let me get that first. Yeah. So like I said, the format. So I'll be trying to do this weekly. Like I told you guys before, I'm going to try and set it at the same time. It ended up being on Wednesday today because of a specific situation on Tuesday. My wife was taking an exam, and so I wanted to make sure I gave her the space to do so because I'm a very caring husband. But so yeah, so I'm gonna try and do it weekly. Ideally on Tuesdays at 7, if possible. If not, I might switch to Wednesdays if it's just more convenient that way. But I'll be doing it weekly is the point. And I will be doing it live on Tuesday, and I'm probably, depending on what's gonna give me more feedback, I might keep it on YouTube or I might just keep it on Facebook just so it's easier to access. And then I will post the actual video itself on Friday, either on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. I will post it on all three if it's possible. If not, I'll figure out a way to make it happen. And then I will also do an alternative live on Thursday. I'll be doing that through Periscope, which is connected straight to my Twitter. I'll let you guys know on Facebook when I plan on doing those. Those will be kind of like those, I guess, auxiliary moments where I will be talking about a particular topic. It's usually just one where I kind of just give my thoughts on it. Usually something that relates to what's going on now, whether it be a specific event that's happened with a celebrity, something that happened in news or media. That will kind of be my thing for that. So that's how my format's going to look. And again, that's going to be on Periscope, and I'm going to do those on Thursdays. And those will be exclusively on Twitter. Those will be posted on that or on the app itself if you guys have Periscope. I know some of you guys did and actually like some of my videos, which I appreciate. So I'll be doing it that way as well. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is apparently during the COVID, as you guys know now already, most of you guys in America anyway know that we're under a COVID quarantine, which means that most of the states are kind of locked in and shut down for the most part. Although you can make the case we're not really that shut down because cats be treating it like we're not in the pandemic. I mean, and the people have difference of opinions on that, whether we actually have a pandemic, whether we don't have a pandemic, it's whatever. But the point is that they're going to be reopening some states now. And I got a list of the states. I'm going to post a link in the video later. Actually, you know what? I'll just post it right now so you guys can see it in the comments. I'm going to try and post it in there. Hopefully it'll send it on. Yeah, you guys can check that out. And some of the states that will be opening will be like Michigan, Ohio, obviously Kentucky, Florida, Kansas, Colorado. Most of the southern and midwestern states will be opening up. California will be opening up only regionally, and some of the northeastern states are not opening up, and they won't open up for a minute. Ohio, because I am from Ohio, I'm going to be talking about Ohio primarily. We will be one of the states that will be reopening soon. the two main things that will be opening up again will be specifically campgrounds and bars and restaurants. And I know most of y'all are absolutely ecstatic to hear about that. If it hasn't happened already, by the time this live comes out, it might have already happened. But those are some of the things that are planning to reopen, so we can be excited about that. All right, and then next up, $3 trillion. So according to what I recently found out from some sources, the House of Representatives apparently just passed a $3 trillion COVID relief bill. And that's according to the New York Times. It was passed 208 to 199 on Friday. So I think if I'm going by dates, by the time I do this live, it passed last Friday on the 15th. So it passed on the 15th. And apparently the primary goal of it is to provide rent relief, to expand the unemployment program so that people can still have an opportunity to get back on their feet once COVID is finally over, and just provide federal aid to local and state governments. However, just because it passed the House of Representatives doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be put into practice, because it's still got to go through the Senate, and vetoes are still highly possible, especially from the Trump administration. It's more than likely not going to become a law, but the fact that it even passed through the House of Representatives, apparently there's a lot of shuffling within the political parties between the Republican and Democrats. There's a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say too much mix up about it, but there were some particular Republicans that weren't happy about the bill, and they were surprised that some of their Republican brothers and sisters actually voted in favor of the bill itself. Because I know, I don't know too much about political rhetoric and all that other stuff, but I know that Republicans tend to be more traditionally conservative. And so the fact that they were willing to support government assistance was actually very interesting. But like I said, don't put too much credibility into that, because as we know, we don't know for sure what's going to happen with that. And that's something we could talk about. Do you guys like the idea of $3 trillion? Because that, according to what I looked up, that's going to be 1,200, kind of like what it was last time. It's going to be 1,200 to singles and 2,400 to married. And I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are going to be for those who have kids. We have a daughter, so that would obviously be a benefit to us. But I know last time when we did the relief, it was not necessarily free money. It was basically like an advance taken out of our future tax returns, if there were going to be tax returns. It's kind of, in that sense, it's kind of crappy that they did that to us. But at the same time, I know we appreciated that money. It helped us out a lot during this time. And I know for a lot of small business owners and people like that who are really needing a pickup right now, I know that was very helpful for them. But then again, that's a subjective experience, because you can argue that that did little to nothing for a lot of people because of their expenses, what they have to pay for and stuff like that. Me personally, during this whole COVID thing, I find it funny how most businesses and places of employment, I shouldn't say most, I don't know all the facts on that. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as I know, most small businesses and local organizations have shut down. And so that means that people that were once employed there don't have money. They're not paying them. There's no service pay as far as I know. And so that means that a lot of people were struggling, but for some reason they still found fit to still charge rent. And that particular thing kind of irritates me when it comes to our government at times, is that even during a national crisis, they still want that bottom line. And it's irritating. It's irritating. And even when they provide support, it is support, but it's not really support, because at the end of the day, they're just taking out of what they will owe you in the future. So to a degree, technically, they're kind of just breaking even on this. But this $3 trillion additional bill, I think, kind of got met with a little bit more pushback, because I could be wrong, I don't know the particulars of it, but it seems as if this is going to put a little bit more of a hurt on the pockets of some people that would otherwise be responsible for that money, which I'm not the kind of person that thinks that the rich should pay for everything. I don't think that's fair to them, but I do think that accountability for those who have more, like if you make more but have to pay less, that doesn't make sense. It's just, and then I'm going into my whole political thing, which, like I said, I have the platform for it. It goes into that whole idea of, well, how much you really care about us. You know what I mean? Like how much are you really willing to put support into the American people? And the thing that I find it interesting about, which is kind of like a conflicting thing with this, is that Trump opposes this bill, even though this bill is supposed to help people who are struggling with local business, which I'm pretty sure one of his campaign runs was for the support and the encouragement of local and small business owners. Like, he was supposed to be apparently for the, at least perceptively, and again, I could be wrong on that, but perceptively, he was supposed to be for the middle American, pick yourself up by your own bootstraps kind of person. So I find it funny that he wouldn't do much to support those particular businesses, even if it is with government assistance. Because I know for a fact, based off some of the stuff I've been seeing on social media and the news, there's a lot of people out there who, although pick up by your bootstraps was their mantra, they're hurting right now for some government assistance and some help. So I just think it's interesting how that's kind of playing out like that. So that's kind of my little spiel on that. $3 trillion, that's a lot of money. And that's the thing that kind of irks me with this is that I don't understand where that money comes from. And I don't know who is footing the bill on that. And when I hear $3 trillion, I'm hearing debt, and that just makes me nervous automatically off rip. But I mean, for the people who can do it, I guess you can do it. And at the end of the day, it's not my problem to worry about it because I work for the public sector, but I don't know. I guess you got to give me more information to figure that whole thing out. Next up, the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, sent out a public address to homebound students for their 2020 graduation. It was part of this little hashtag movement I was seeing on Twitter recently called Graduate Together, where obviously because of the COVID quarantine, a lot of universities weren't able to do commencements for their students, which it really sucks. I'm not even gonna lie, that kind of hurts, to be honest with you. I feel for, this is gonna turn into a bigger discussion about like macro level stuff. But for now, I'll just say the reason why I did this is because people were tagging Obama did it better. Despite you guys' views on the president, how you view him and how you view the stuff that he may have allowed or disallowed or anything of that nature regarding President Obama specifically, regardless of how you viewed him or whether you thought he was a good or bad president, you cannot deny the fact that his ability to relate and connect to us, specifically us, like millennial age people and people younger, the fact that he was able to stay relevant and connect to us on a level that we could relate to and enjoy is too. I have yet to see a president, maybe apart from Kennedy, that was able to do that with his people, that we actually had a president that we were kind of proud to have. Because let's be honest, some of y'all, even though you supported Bush, it wasn't even like you were really willing to say, yeah, Bush is our president. I mean, some of y'all were, but I know for the most part, most of us were kind of like, this dude is our president. Kind of like how we feel now with Donald Trump. It's like, this dude is our president. Like, it's like you can't go to the 10-year national reunion and talk to Spain and be like, yeah, we got a new man now. Ours is Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like, Obama was that kind of president that you kind of like metaphorically put on your arm and say like, yeah, we're under this guy. Even if he may have did, and I'm pretty sure he did do some shady stuff under the covers, at least on the outside, he looked like a respectable individual. He looked like somebody that knew what they were doing. He looked like somebody that wasn't an easily memeable product. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't somebody that when we saw him running for office, we didn't immediately take it as a joke. Like, you're running? Are you serious? Like, when I first found out that Trump was running, I thought it was a joke. And then when I started seeing this cat gain traction, I was like, hold up. And then I just started thinking our country is a joke, which to an extent I kind of still feel about. But I would say, at least for Obama, in this particular realm, with that being the ability to engage and connect with a vast majority of people. And when I say vast majority, I'm talking about people like us who wanted something more than just the old stuffy white guy that constantly from on high tells us what's important. Like, he was a very, even though he wasn't, he gave us that kind of down to earth vibe. He kind of gave us that, like, man, he's got that charisma. He's got that ability to be like the fact that he did a mic drop at one of his like presidential speeches, and the fact that he did a clapback during one of his addresses to the Congress, did the whole, I know because I won both of them. Like, that's the type of stuff that we didn't see too many presidents before doing. And I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that he's one of the first. And on top of that, he even did like little jokes where he would have, like, you know how you guys have seen like Jordan Peele when he would do the anger translator, and Obama literally had the anger translator come out and like do that with him. Like, we had never had a president before that was willing to do stuff like that. And for me anyway, in this area specifically, I do agree that Obama did do it better. For me, he was just a better president for that alone. The fact that he was able to connect to me in a way that felt genuine too. It didn't feel like he was just placating for the sake of gaining more, I guess, trends on Facebook or whatever. Like he was a president that actually had the ability to talk. He was kind of like that teacher at school where, you know, like for the most part, you kind of like trivialize teachers like, nah, you're an old stuffy dude. I don't think. But he was like one of those teachers that was like, he wasn't your age, but he kind of got it. You know what I mean? Like he was one of those guys that you could kind of talk to and be like, you know, man, I was really bugging it. He was like, yeah, man, I get you. Like he gets the slang to a degree. He's able to connect with you beyond what you may expect him to. Like he's able to understand your music. He's that kind of guy to me. And to have that type of person as your president speaks to me specifically because although baby boomers and the Generation Xers and the people older than me, the silent generation, all those other folk, although they are the current heads of the country for now, they're going to pass away soon. And without the ability to connect to this next generation of people coming out, the Generation Zers, the millennials, and whoever's coming after them, or whoever's coming after the Zers, like to have an ability to connect for us specifically is important. Like we don't want to, and I know for me, I might just be speaking for myself, but I don't feel good voting for somebody that I don't know. You know what I mean? And again, I don't know Obama, but I don't want to vote for somebody that I know for a fact I would not want to have a conversation with them about anything. You know what I mean? And I don't know how much you can have that with Obama, but at least he kind of had that vibe about him. You know what I mean? It's hard to put into words exactly, but that's kind of what I wanted to do. And on top of that, Obama did it and Trump didn't. So that says a lot about it. Like Trump didn't do a public commencement for the people who are going through quarantine right now, who are graduating, because a lot of them are actually struggling right now. Like it sucks that you're working so hard for so long and you don't have the ability to be celebrated by your friends and family and your peers in a public setting. Like that sucks, because I had my commencement, I had my graduation ceremony, and it was awesome. Although for me, I didn't really have too much stake in it because I was never really about that life. But the fact that people actually were proud of me, like that did feel good. That did feel good to know that people were looking out for me in that way. And for those of us out there who are in quarantine, who worked hard for those degrees and don't have the chance to be celebrated like you should, that does suck. And my heart does go out to you. And I'm glad that at least we have somebody from Capitol Hill, not Capitol Hill, DC, who has the ability to say, you know what, I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that they know that I appreciate them. So I appreciated that. Also, Nelly and Ludacris, they had a versus battle over the weekend, and it was interesting. I didn't see it. I just saw the memes about it after. And apparently, Nelly was pulling a Teddy Riley. I think it was Teddy Riley when him and Babyface went at it. He pulled a Teddy Riley and was having Wi-Fi trouble. And the thing that kills me is like, how are you that big of a person? I don't know. I'm not looking at Nelly's pockets. I'm not looking at his pockets. But I just don't understand how you can have that much accredited success and still struggle in your Wi-Fi connection. But to be fair, he might not prioritize that. You know what I mean? He might be one of those people that doesn't really look for the internet like that. Like he's that dude who might just be. Nelly would strike me as a person that really wouldn't be on the internet all the time. He'd probably be out and about doing something, hanging out with people. He seems like a mad extrovert. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't commit more of his funding towards his internet connection. I would not be surprised about that. Ludacris seems like a techie, so I feel like he's kind of on that tip. But this subject kind of prompted me to ask the question, as far as for me, who do I think has more hits? Who do I think? Do I think Nelly or do I think Ludacris? And this is a tough one for me. I'm not going to say a toss-up. I'm not going to play the middle like that. But this is a tough one for me because I grew up on both of their strongest singles. But if you're talking for me specifically, I have to go with Nelly. I'm going to say that because for Damon Bennett, Nelly had a lot of songs that he grew up on. Luda had some too. Like he had Stand Up. I don't even know the name of the song, and that's a shame. But he had Stand Up. He had Get Back. You Don't Know Me Like That. He had that one with what's his name? He had that one with Ludacris and the Yin Yang Twins. What was that song? Not Yin Yang Twins. Oh, was it Please Tell Your Lovers and Friends that Usher, John, and Luda about to do it again? I can't remember the name of the song, but that was one of those songs, and I grew up on that one too. But Nelly had Dilemma. Nelly had Number One. He had Shake a Tail Feather. He had Air Force One. I'm naming them off the rip. And those are songs that I have not heard in years, but they were so ingrained in my brain that it's hard not to remember them joints. I grew up on Nelly way more than I did Ludacris, so there's a little bit more of a bias. Oh, I shouldn't say that. No, I grew up on them both equally, but I have more Nelly nostalgia than I do Ludacris, and that says something to me. So for me, if you're asking Damon Bennett right now in a vacuum who has more hits, I'm going to say Nelly for that reason alone. And yes, I'm going off of nostalgia, but that's how I rock, and that's how I roll. Okay. So that's it for that. Apparently, Scarface is getting a remake. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until very recently, but apparently he's getting a remake. There's going to be, it's apparently written by the Coen brothers, which is a very positive sign for me. For those of you who don't know the Coen brothers, they wrote No Country for Old Men. They wrote so many other movies. I feel bad because they wrote movies that I like. I gotta go back and actually look. You know, I'll do it right now. The Coen brothers, they wrote No Country for Old Men. I know that for a fact. They wrote that. They wrote, what else did they write? They wrote Fargo. I never saw Fargo, but I know that was a classic. The Big Lebowski, never saw it, but I know it's a classic. They wrote, what else? No Country for Old Men. I love that movie. They wrote True Grit. True Grit was an interesting movie for me. It was good, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of that one. They wrote Bridge of Spies, which I actually read the script for, which was a really good script. I like that. So they wrote a lot of good movies, the point I'm making. And so for them to take this specific IP, I feel a little bit better about, because right now, I'm going to be honest with you, when it comes to Hollywood and when it comes to just popular media in general, there's a lot of just rehashing of old ideas. Like, there's not a lot of people coming out with original content right now. Mainstream wise, like big screen wise, there's not a lot of movies that are taking that risk like you saw back in the 80s and 70s, 80s, and I can't even say early 90s, but there was a period in time in which people were coming out with their own stories, with their own ideas, and now it just feels like Hollywood is just playing it safe. They're playing it safe. They're doing soft reboots, hard reboots. They're just rebooting. They're even rebooting reboots, which is crazy. But it's interesting. I'm going to be real interested to see how they're going to do this. I don't know about y'all. I wasn't asking for a Scarface remake. I don't know who really was. I don't know who would want that. And I don't know how applicable that's going to be, because you can be honest. During that time in that era when Scarface first came out, it was awesome for a number of different reasons, but it was awesome because it was at a time when that type of lifestyle was seen as like the big show, the big shot. And like nowadays, it would just come off as corny. At least in my perspective, it would come off mad corny, because you don't have like that scene in Scarface. For those of you who haven't seen Scarface, spoiler alert. But that first scene in Scarface, one of the first scenes where homeboy is like chained in the bathtub and his partner gets chainsawed in his face. That like, you don't like moments like those don't happen like that anymore in movies. And when I say that, that scene specifically was happening with substance. It was happening for a reason. It was happening for a purpose. Nowadays, it's just gore for the sake of gore, and it's not really for the point of telling a story or a narrative. It's just to give you something to be like towards. You know what I mean? And I don't know if the Scarface remake is gonna have a moment like that. To be honest with you, like Scarface was a classic, and although I haven't seen all the movie, there are moments in that movie that I know because of how timeless those moments were. Like, say hello to my little friend. The whole his standoff with the opposing cartel that was trying to gun him down. Like, I don't know how they're going to recreate that and make it well, because apparently there's speculation that Michael B. Jordan will be cast as the lead role. And to be honest with you, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about Michael B. Jordan. Like when I think about crime boss, when I think about like coke peddling kingpin, Al Pacino fit that role perfectly. Like aesthetically, he satisfied what I would perceive someone to do that profession to be. And although subversion is good at times, Rian Johnson at times, I don't like the idea of Michael B. Jordan being that. I just don't see. I don't see unless they do a really good job with his makeup, unless he just kills it acting wise. I don't see his ability showing like that. And I know he's a good actor, but like that specific type of role, you got to have somebody that has a little bit more grit. And to me, Michael B. Jordan doesn't have that grit. He's got like clean. He's like clean. And I don't know how to put that into better words, but it's like as an actor, his persona, his demeanor, independent of his acting ability, he comes off clean, visually, clean and appealing. Whereas Al Pacino in that moment, in that movie, wasn't clean. He was as close to the real thing as you could perceptively see. He wasn't strikingly handsome. He wasn't clean pressed and all that other stuff. He was a dude. He looked like a real dude that just, he got a lot of money and he made it. You know what I mean? And Michael B. Jordan doesn't look like that. He looks like an Instagram model. That was crazy. I called him an Instagram model. But he's an Instagram model. Independent of how good of an actor he is, he's an Instagram model to an extent. Like he's what, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if he was cast as lead role just to bring women into the theater. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised. Because when Al Pacino was cast, he wasn't cast for his looks. Like, people weren't casting Al Pacino because he was going to bring in the women. I can be wrong about that, probably. I might be. But as far as I know, Al Pacino wasn't the looker with the ladies, you know what I mean? Which is why I know men, specifically brothers, love that movie, because it's like, yo, this is for me. Like, this movie's for me, because this dude looks like a dude that would sell drugs and kill people. You know what I mean? Like, he just looks like that. And Michael B. Jordan doesn't look like that to me. Even with Killmonger being a thing, I just don't see it. I don't see it for this type of specific what's the word for it? This type of specific I guess movie style, movie genre. I just don't see it working for him. And also with that, they found a new director called, his name is really hard to pronounce. It is, and I'm going to post it in the comments section. It is Luca Guadagnino. I think is how you pronounce it. Luca Guadagnino. And as far as I know, the only movies, he's directed mostly foreign films from what I've seen. I did an IMDb research on him. He's from Italy, which I'm half Italian, so yeah, go there. Which I guess to me, would help with the credibility of the movie, because if it was like some random like Joe Schmo from Upper New Hampshire, I'd probably have a hard time believing that he's going to present an interesting, you know what I mean? Even though the Coen brothers I don't think are Italian, but anyway. Yeah, he directed movies like Call Me By Your Name, Suspiria, A Bigger Splash, I Am Love. As far as again, I've never seen any of these movies, but it doesn't seem like he could transition into a mobster gangster flick if he could. I don't know. I don't know his chops, but we'll see. I don't know when the release date is. It didn't say. I just know that they're working on it, and I'm gonna keep my eyes on it, see what happens. Now with commencements and things of that nature, although most people in universities weren't able to have their commencement, I thought this was cool. Apparently, UC Berkeley, which I think is in California, decided that even though people weren't able to have a physical commencement ceremony, they were going to try and have a virtual one, and they did it through Minecraft. Now, I don't know the particulars of how they managed to pull it off. I would assume everybody just got a Minecraft account and just met in a specific server and did it that way. But the fact that they were willing to do that, and in such an interesting and novel way, I think I like that. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy video games being used as a medium for interaction, because, and not all the time, I'm not with that. But what I'm saying more so is that when people allow their creativity to flow, and they use things like video games to create a moment of connection with people, and in a way that's going to last, it helps create a positive for people in a time when this should be a very demoralizing and discouraging experience. They managed to successfully turn it into a memory that's going to last them a lifetime. They're never going to forget about how their university did their commencement ceremony through Minecraft. Even though you don't get the physical commencement ceremony, and obviously for the value that would provide, that would be more, obviously you would want that more. But the fact that they actually have a positive memory to replace it with, like being able to say, I got my degree through Minecraft, like that to me speaks to how even in the midst of a crisis or an epidemic or whatever you want to call this, there's still opportunities to have a little bit of positivity. You know what I mean? There's still some silver linings you can find. There's opportunities and ways that you can create moments that will last. That COVID, although for most of us it kind of sucks, in fact, for all of us it kind of sucks, at least now you have an opportunity to be like, you know what, but at least in COVID, I did have this one moment. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's plenty of other people with stories like that, where in the midst of COVID, throughout all the crap that you guys are going through, you were able, because of the fact that you really had nowhere to go, you were able to do some things that you might not have otherwise been able to do. Like, for example, for me, this. So that, I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really cool. For those of y'all out there who are Guilty Gear fans like me, you guys know about Guilty Gear Strive, and unfortunately it is delayed, but it is delayed for a very interesting reason. So according to sources, Guilty Gear is delayed because the developers forgot that they had to develop a character that they introduced in their debut trailer, which is hilarious to me. And although I don't like delays, although I don't like pushback, I do enjoy when a developer says, you know what, we're not going to put out a half-crap made product. We're going to take our time with this. We forgot. And I appreciate the transparency and accountability, because for me, that says a lot. That makes me believe that I can trust you as a game developer, that you're not just going to put out some crap and expect me to pay $60 for it. They said, you know what, we messed up. We made a trailer. We made a character, and I saw a couple of images. The character looked pretty cool. I still haven't seen the trailer yet. I need to check it out. But the character looked cool from what I saw, and they're like, yeah, we made a character. We know you guys are interested in him. We just didn't make him yet. And so we got to push back a little bit in order to make the trailer. So their new projected date is early 2021, which kind of sucks. And then they also said there are no projected setbacks other than that. But I just thought it was funny that they are pushing back because they forgot about the character they made. Oh, that was hilarious. Like, who? I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I would not even know. I'm sure they were so busy with everything else, the net code, the frame data, all the stuff they had to input to make the characters viable and tournament ready. Not even just tournament ready, but also be fun and accessible for the casual fan. I'm sure in the midst of all that, they might have just forgot about it, which is possible. It happens. This next topic is not relevant news, but it is something that I do want to talk about. For those of you who don't know what Hunter, this is not the actual title. It's not Hunter Hiatus. It is Hunter Hunter, but it is on hiatus. This is going to be a little bit of a rant, but what I want to talk about is a specific thing. And I think you guys can already guess what that is. I'm going to go ahead and find it right there. Yep. So this is this right here. This right here, once it loads up. So, with regards to, come on, man, don't play me like that. Believe TV. It needs to load up. It might not be loading. When it loads up, I'll show y'all. But ultimately, Hunter x Hunter has been on hiatus for as long since it pretty much began. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, there's a small part of me that just kind of gave up. Not even a small part of me. There's a big part of me that gave up on this story. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it and I'm done. And I know that some of y'all may not like me saying that, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm just done with Hunter x Hunter. I'm done with the series. I'm done with trying to continue to put out hope that he's gonna release something, knowing he's not gonna do it. I don't like being put on game like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like being put in a position where now I have to make sure that I don't disappoint myself because you promised me something and you're not following through on it. And as an artist, as somebody who apparently has a lot of passion for this particular project, I find it very interesting that he has no desire, as far as I know at all, to complete the story that he himself created. And it's frustrating. And I want to believe in Togashi. I want to believe in his ability, because he makes good stories. Like, he makes really good stories. Yu Yu Hakusho, I love Yu Yu Hakusho. When I saw Hunter x Hunter the anime, I loved the anime. But now, when I started reading the manga, I watched the manga and I love the manga. And I really wish I could show you all this image, because I need y'all to see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. But it's frustrating me that it's not popping up right now. But anyway, man, that's frustrating. That's frustrating. But anyway, like I was saying, he has been on hiatus. The last chapter, for some of y'all who don't know, the last chapter came out And let's find it. In 2018. 2018. It has been 2 years since the last Hunter x Hunter chapter. I don't even remember what the chapter is. I don't even remember what it's about. And to be honest with you, I don't even want to bother to go into my browser to find out, because up until this point, I have no reason why this cat has not posted anything else since. He has given me, and this is what irritates me about IPs like this, and that was what irritated me about Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts had a very, very long delay, and they, unfortunately for me, had created a world that fascinated the mess out of me. It blended Disney with Square Enix, and for some reason, I don't know why, but Goofy talking to Cloud Strife, for me, spoke to my childhood and heart in ways that I cannot describe. And for Togashi, again, unfortunately for me, when he created Hunter x Hunter, he created undoubtedly one of the best power systems I have ever seen. And came across. And I'm including the Ki from Dragon Ball Z. I'm including the Chakra from Naruto. I'm including Reiatsu from Bleach. I'm including the Fate Zero or Fate, what is it? Not Fate Zero. Fate Stay. Whichever one that has you like taking like warriors from different lands. Even that power system, I'm taking into account the power systems from, I've never seen the anime, but World Trigger, all of them. The Nen system to me is such an intricate, he created so much with this world. And it's kind of like Star Wars to an extent. Like, you created a universe that I not only want to be a part of, I want to see what's available in there. And he created like these, he planted these little seeds with like the whole gyro reveal and who that guy is. And he talked about Dawn Freaks and about apparently he's, according to what Jing is telling us, is still in the Dark Continent, which we know the survival rate for the Dark Continent is fractions of a %. So how is that possible? And it's been 2 years since you've hooked me in with these big reveals that you told us you were going to come through on, and you got nothing to show for it. So don't be surprised when the chapter comes out and I haven't even looked at it, because I'm not looking for it anymore. I don't care. Like, I don't care how good of a mangaka you are. You have an obligation to your fans to at least be somewhat consistent. And look, I'm not looking at this guy and saying, too bad you got back problems. But dog, 2 years, and we ain't heard nothing from you. Back problems. And you're too stubborn to allow staff to come in and draw up your stuff because you want to be in control of your story. You want to be the one to draw it, even though there were certain parts of Hunter x Hunter when you actually were somewhat consistent that just looked like trash. And that's what kills me with this guy, is that he doesn't seem to want to humble himself enough to create something that his fans would enjoy. And I know for me as an artist, because I'm an artist, I do music, I write scripts, I do stuff like that. There's a certain part of you that says, I have fans, but I'm not doing this to please fans. And I respect that. But again, this kind of brings up the argument for me. And this kind of leads into the discussion I want to get into about the whole artist versus consumer expectation debate. Because I think to a degree, as an artist, and even for me, I am a hypocrite in this regard, because there are people right now who are asking for music and I haven't released music. I mean, I released music last year, but I know that there's a project in my heart that I want to get out, but I just haven't gotten to it. And there's a whole number of reasons why: anxiety, mental things, the hurdles I got to get over to actually get myself in the studio. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that. But if someone were to say, yo, I'm frustrated with you and I'm not rocking with you anymore because you would have me waiting too long for music, I would understand that. It would suck. I mean, technically, because my last project came out last year. So the fact that you're expecting me to come out with something else in months is wild. But let's say, for example, it's been 6 years since I released a product. And they're like, yo, I'm not looking for you no more. I would not be surprised. Jay Electronica has got like his... And this brings me into even Jay Electronica. This cat had us waiting for dang near a decade for a project. And when he released it with Jay-Z. He didn't even release a solo project. He released a joint album, and that kills me. That kills me. And the Hunter x Hunter and the Kingdom Hearts thing is the same thing. You had me waiting for dang near a decade, an entire game generation, and gave me a game that was half complete. Because now this whole Remind thing's coming out, and you have me paying an extra $40 for the story that you were supposed to originally give me in the first place. And this goes into a whole nother conversation I'm going to have about DLC and how that completely destroyed the gaming industry. But that's another live for another time. For now. So Hunter x Hunter, again, that's what I'm talking about. And I really wish this thing would load up, because I want y'all to see what I'm talking about, because this is, I'm just going to post a link. I'm going to post a link so you guys can look at it on your own, so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because
this is ridiculous. And you'll see the red in that thing when you look at it is the hiatuses, the missed Shonen Jump deadlines that he was supposed to make. Those are chapters that didn't come out. The blue are the times when he did. And if you look at it, even in the beginning, you could see the inconsistencies in his thing. He had hiatuses every other week, it felt like. And now, especially in the later parts of the 2010s, he basically was non-existent. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just that he has so much money that he doesn't care anymore. I don't know if it's just he just doesn't feel like getting to it, or if his back problems are really that bad. But there's a certain part of me that even though I am an artist, I am also a consumer. And I have been rocking with you for a very long time. I want to see your vision. You're passionate about your vision. You have something that you want the world to see. We want you to show us it, and we are willing to put forth the money to support it. But when you don't come out the gate, and One Piece has been in serialization since the beginning of time, and they've only but briefly started doing weekly hiatuses. The only hiatus they had was that one time in 2008, I think. And that was because he was literally getting ready to plan the next half of the story. Like, I can make excuses for that because the dude was consistent. And that could be wrong, but as far as I know, he has not missed a beat. And the only reason why he's missing a beat now is because of a national pandemic. And you can't bring yourself to tell me to at least give me a reason why you haven't come out with a new chapter. No, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I can't deal with that. As a person, and again, as an artist, I get it. You are like, for some reason, for us as artists, we just have a really, really, really hard time when it comes to being consistent. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about us and our struggles with our art. I know for me personally, it's because I'm still struggling to figure out what it is that I want to present and show people. But Togashi has an established brand. He has been working in manga for years. He has had several products come out prior to this. To me, there's no excuse. How are you this? He married the girl that got Sailor Moon. I know he's not stressed for money. So to me, there's even less of a reason why he doesn't have anything coming out. And even less of a reason why he can't hire artists to do some of the work for him, if that really is what's going on. And I'm not going to let that be a cop-out. This cat, like, it's not like music where we wait 1 to 2 years for a project because we know all the time, effort, and energy. And I understand. Mangakas go through a lot of work to produce chapters. I know. It is stressful. It is frustrating. At times, you may not even feel like doing it. But as an artist who has an established fan base, to a degree, you have a relationship with your fans. You have an obligation with your fans to at least communicate with them and let them know what's going on. We know nothing about what's going on with Togashi as far as I'm concerned. We don't know whether he's just saying, screw you guys, I'm done. And another example I have of this is the Game of Thrones guy. The author, what was his name? George R.R. Martin. His last book came out in 2011. And this is apparently a 7-book or 8-book series. He's only done with book 5. It started in 1996. And they're still waiting for the next book to come out. And I don't know what he's doing. He apparently spent all that GOT HBO money because and then that's what I'm talking about. Like, I can't defend an artist who's not willing to communicate with me, who's not willing to be upfront with me and give me reasons why his work. And again, to a degree, I get it. As an artist who does this type of stuff, I understand that you're not enslaved to your fan base. I understand that. And nor should you be. You should be free to take your vision wherever you want it to go. And your fans, if they're your fans, are going to rock with it. And if they're not, they're not. Because at the end of the day, you're an artist. You're choosing to express. I get that. But there's a healthy balance there. You know what I mean? Like, we as artists, although we're so connected to the deeper emotions of man and we want to express that in unique and interesting ways, there's a part of us that still needs some level of structure in order for there to be some type of consistency to where which your audience who loves and appreciates your stuff will have the ability to continue to consume that. And even if you want to switch to a monthly format and give me 1 chapter a month, I would be okay with that. But you better do an Attack on Titan type joint and give me 40 pages, because 20 pages a month ain't gonna cut it. I'm sorry. You can't give me 20 pages. You're gonna have me wait a month for 20. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You can't give me that. Unless those chapters are absolute fire, and they should be, you need to give me 40. And Togashi especially, he owes us dang near an entire tankobon at this point. He owes us a whole freaking book, because I just don't know what the dude is doing. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he's doing it. Yeah, it's crazy. When you guys look at the chart, you're gonna see this cat. Like I'm amazed that Shonen Jump has to kick them off yet. And as an editor, I don't understand why you haven't. As the people that are in Togashi's team that are behind him, I don't understand why you haven't had conversations with the dude. Like, yo, what are you doing? Like, do you not care anymore about your fans? Because your fans want this. You know what I'm saying? And if you die, and it's same thing with Berserk. This cat is going on hiatus dang near every other day. And cats are fishing for it. Like, to a certain extent, you either got to give the story to somebody who can actually take it and do something with it, or you got to just be honest and say, I don't care anymore. But tell us something. And they gave us nothing. And that's why I say artist interaction is important. And also the balance of artistic vision and artistic expression coupled with marketing strategy. Like, you need both. You need some form of a model, some form of a consistent structure that is going to give you the ability to produce your vision in a productive and satisfying way. And in a way where your fans don't feel like they're being alienated and left on an island waiting for your vision to come to realization and not having any way of knowing what's going on. Oda has been in the game for just as long as Hunter x Hunter has been in the game, even longer than that, if I'm correct. I need to go back, but I'm pretty sure One Piece has been in here since the 90s, baby, and it's still going strong. It's been in 30 years in serialization, dang near 30 years. And again, there are other mangakas. Oda's the best example I got because he has the longest running franchise and has been so consistent with it that his fans, like for me, I'm jonesing for the next chapter. And we're in a 2 week beat. We're basically going bi-weekly, but I can excuse it because he's been consistent. And he's been consistent consistently. He's been that way for us, and he's communicated with us why he's not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, there's reasons why he's not doing it this week. COVID's happening. We're trying to keep everybody safe. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because he's able to interact with us. Togashi doesn't do that. And I'm not too sure he cares about his fans. I'm going to be honest. And I don't want to call his character into question, but dang, bro. 2 years, you can't even send out a tweet? Like, what's going on with you? People want to know. And that's, yeah, I can't respect it. I just can't respect it. And let him come out with some bull crap. Look, when he comes out, everybody's going to hype it up. They're going to blow it up like, oh my God, it's the best thing since Jesus. Man, and watch it be a 20-page teaser. Watch it be a 20-page teaser where it's just Jing looking off into Lake Mobius before the Dark Continent, and all of a sudden Hisoka walks up behind him. Watch it be some crap like that. I guarantee you he will probably do something like that. And then it'll be another 3 months before the next chapter comes out, where the chapter will come out and we're back to Gon for some reason. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And for me, it sparks up the debate. It sparks up the debate of, as an artist, there's a healthy balance where you have the freedom to kind of work on your own time, but at the same time be considerate of the fans and the people who want to see your work. It's more so just about being consistent and being transparent than anything else. Like, I can deal with you telling me, hey, the reason why these chapters haven't come out is because I've been in the hospital to be fair, if he's in the hospital right now, it's going to be hard to communicate that. So I get that. And if it ends up being the case that he was in clinical care, then I'll probably lay off him. But if it's just simply the fact that he's lazy and doesn't want to do it, I got no excuse for you. I got no sympathy for you. I don't care if you got back problems or not. It sounds crazy, but you do owe me an explanation because you formed a relationship with me, whether you want to believe it or not. And for as shallow as that relationship might be, you have told me and given me something that I want to continue to hear. It's like Frank Ocean. When he came out with Channel Orange, people loved that joint. It took him 4 years. 4 long years before Blonde came out. I was hyped for it. And when he came out with that and the visual album, which I appreciate. I still haven't checked out Endless, but I appreciate that. At least if you're going to wait that long, give me some stuff. You know what I mean? Like, give me some stuff. Show me that all that work wasn't just you twiddling your thumbs all day. You know what I mean? And for Togashi to have a 2-year hiatus, I hope, although I'm probably sure it won't happen, I hope that he gives us some fire. And it better be fire. I'm talking 50, 60 pages. I'm talking opening intro chapter to your new manga series. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fire, baby. I need it. Because at this point, you gotta bring me back. Because otherwise, I'm not checking for you. I'm not checking. I know it sounds almost hypocritical because I literally was checking for him, but it's like I said as before, and I'm going to keep repeating it. As an artist, you have somewhat of an obligation to your fans because you developed a relationship with them. You gave them something that they want to experience more of, and you have, to a certain degree, some form of obligation either to explain what's going on. And again, to be fair, and like I'm saying, you don't have to be a slave. You're not a slave to anybody. If you want to take your vision in a direction that your fans don't want to rock with, you have complete freedom to do that. But don't take my money. Don't take the time, effort, and energy it takes for me to wait in anticipation for your next chapter. Don't completely go ghost on me. Take all the money that I've given you to support your vision and give me nothing in return. Don't do that either. Like if you're gonna ultimately ghost me on your vision, I don't care how fire it is. You might as well just kept it to yourself, because it's even more torturous now. Because I have no idea what's gonna happen at the end of the story. I was fascinated when the anime came out. I was fascinated when the manga came out. And I was watching that joint as religiously as I could. But now, since it's been so long, I almost completely forget about it. I'm on to different things now. People that are going to be consistent. And that's the thing for me now that I look for as a manga reader. I look for consistency. I look for somebody who's going to give me a product and give me it consistently. It's crazy. But now, because of Hunter x Hunter and Game of Thrones and people like that, I have to look for that now. Because at one point, I took it for granted. Now I can't afford to take it for granted. I can't afford to take it for granted anymore. And I'm not saying give me crap and give me crap weekly. I'm not saying that either. If you got to switch to a different format to give me the quality product that you think it deserves, you got to take your time for it. If you want to go monthly, bi-monthly, do what you got to do, but give us something that we can expect. That's what I'm saying. And don't give us that. If you're going to give us 10-page chapters, the 10-page chapter better be the most fire thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm talking extra detail. I'm talking about world breaking. I'm talking about world-shattering, world-building stuff. Like you got, and I do say that as an artist and as a consumer, you do have to do that. Because otherwise it's just going to be insulting. That's like if Frank Ocean came out after 4 years of giving us absolutely nothing, and he came out with a 2-track EP. You would be pissed. And that 2-track EP better be the most fire song you've ever heard in your life. It better make you cry every time you hear it. Otherwise, you're going to feel insulted. Because to a degree, you're taking my money and you're giving me crap in return. That's not fair. Even as a person who is an artist, I'm also a fan. That's not fair. You can't do that to people. Especially if you make money off it. Like, I don't make money now, and I feel the pressure. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine having millions upon millions of people just begging and clamoring for something. You know what I mean? That got off the rails fast, but I needed that conversation. And that's a discussion. I mean, you guys, if you disagree, feel free to disagree, but I mean, we can have a conversation about it. So, next up, animes. Here's a couple of animes that I've watched recently, and I think that you guys would enjoy. First one's called Vinland Saga. I'm sure some of you guys have probably already watched it, but for some of you guys who haven't, Vinland Saga is a really, really, really good anime. And I'm not going to give you too much about it. It's basically it's during the Viking era, and it's about a boy who you're following his journey as he. It's hard not to go into spoilers, so I'm not going to go into spoilers. But it's basically you're following a boy who grows up and basically adapts to the brutal world around him. That's probably the best way that I can describe it. That's the best way I could put it into words. So there is that one. Yeah. So that's the best way I can put it. This is it. Please pop up. Please pop up. I'll tell you what, my shared screens are struggling right now because they're not popping up at all. You guys might see it. And if you do, I hope you do, because I'm not seeing it. But yeah. Anyway, so Vinland Saga, that's a good one. Another one is Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho 100. I love it for the animation alone. And I'm a sucker, as an anime guy, I'm a sucker for good animation. You give me smooth, crisp animation with clean colors and bright lights. Like, I'm a sucker for it. But it also has substance. It's made by the same guys who made One Punch Man, which already for me is a seller there. It's again a story about a person, average everyday guy, kind of weird, kind of awkward to be honest, who has tremendous ability. But what I like about One's stories is that they give you a spectacular world, but they at the same time focus on such small life stuff. You know what I mean? Like with One Punch Man, it's a guy who can literally kill anything with one punch, but you're enthralled by it because the story doesn't focus on his ability per se. It focuses on him, who is an actual human being, like as a realistic human being, coming to grips with that and the boredom that would produce, the lack of the lack of drive it would give you to want to engage dangerous situations. Like it plays on that. And Mob Psycho does that in a similar way, where you have a guy who has extraordinary ability and is continually wrestling with the desire to just be normal. Although the conflict in that is his extraordinary ability is what provides people. It ultimately is what helps people. His ordinary ability doesn't, but his extraordinary ability does. But he wants to be recognized for who he is as a person and much less for his ability, which again, there's layers to it. And that's why I enjoy it. And I think you guys would enjoy it too. And it also came out with the second season. So if you haven't watched it yet and you've been through the first one, you'll be right there with us in the second. The last one is kind of a cult classic. I don't think most people know about this one, but it is pronounced Hajime no Ippo. It's called Hajime no Ippo. This one is without a doubt one of my favorite sports / battle animes / mangas I've ever read. It's one of my favorites. And it's about a boxer who at first is not a boxer and becomes a boxer. And that's it. And that's it. And it's crazy. But what makes it insane is that these fight scenes and the I'm talking about the newer one, not the old 1990s one, the older one. And do yourself a favor, do not watch the dub. I'm a sub guy myself. Even with my sub bias, do not watch the dub. The voice acting in that is atrocious. Watch the subs. Trust me. But anyway, the fights themselves are so like gripping and so enthralling that you care about it. George Morikawa, the guy who makes it, does such a good job of making you care about both characters. There's very few instances in the show where there's just a straight villain, like a person that you just don't care about, that you really don't want to win, that you want Makanouchi Ippo to beat the crap out of. There's very few instances where that readily happens. There have been times in this anime and manga where I actually wanted the main character to lose, and that very rarely has a show or a manga been able to draw me in so deeply into characters that are not the main one to where I'm actually fighting for their victory more so than the main characters. It's crazy. It's crazy. And on top of that, even though it's a boxing anime, there are so many more, not complexities, I don't want to say, but it gives you not just the flash and the grit and the animation, which is beautiful for the fights. It also gives you like the realistic look into a boxer's life, what they do, what they deal with, how semi-pro boxers have to fight to make a living, and some of them have double jobs and all this other stuff. There's plenty more stuff. And that's in its like 1200th chapter. I'm still reading it again, but that's a really good one too. And for those of you guys who like really good fight scenes, that has one of the best for sure. Oh, sorry. Next topic. I wish I showed the whole thing. Oh no. Something to learn. Oh, it's gonna crawl. Okay. So little interesting side piece. I recently just started doing some research on this. Did not know there's a lot of mangas and animes that I love that are actually made by women, which is crazy to think about. I know it should be obvious nowadays, but I just wanted this to be an interesting little conversation. There are some animes and mangas that you might not have realized were made by women, and I got a little bit of a list. So we got one like Full Metal Alchemist. Did not know that. Did not know that at all. Demon Slayer. Did not know that. Blue Exorcist. Did not know that. Inuyasha. Didn't know it, but now I can kind of see it. It's hard to explain why I can see it, but I can kind of see it. And then Dead Man Wonderland. Like, what's cool about this, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this specifically is because I know we tend to be in more of a male-dominated type of market, which for me, I think speaks to how, it's hard to put into words, but it's like, it doesn't necessarily depend on who you are necessarily. If you've got vision and you've got creativity and you've got ability and you've got the drive, you can create things that will transcend gender and like not gender. That's crazy. That'll you will attract and draw people regardless if you're a woman or not. And I know people like to think that anime, like I said, anime manga is more of a male dominated thing, but for me as a person, I appreciate it because it is so cool to know that Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood specifically, even the original one, had a lot of influence on me as a child. Not a lot of influence, but it was one of those animes that I used to love watching and watch consistently. To know that it was a woman who made that is awesome to me because it tells me as an artist that you really just gotta be, you just gotta have vision. You gotta have vision. You gotta be good. You gotta be willing to be good and do the work. And if you do that, it don't matter where you're from or what you do, you're going to draw an audience. You're going to draw an audience. You're going to have people that are going to appreciate and value your work. And it's encouraging. Demon Slayer came out of nowhere and it is amazing. I'm telling you, amazing. The manga and the anime, amazing. I love both of them. And to know that it was created by a woman is so cool. It's so cool. And I wish I could find better words to put as to why. But again, for me, it speaks to a more macro level thing where you could be anybody from any branch of the world, any walk of life. As long as you have a vision, you're dedicated to presenting that vision in a way that is substance-filled and enthralling, people are going to be drawn to it. They're just going to be drawn to it. And that for me, I guess, at the end of the day, that's what I wanted to talk about. You'd be surprised who creates some of the best stuff that you guys love and appreciate. That's what I love about art. Oh, Lord. We got a few more topics and then we'll be wrapping up, kind of going a little bit longer on this one. The Hunter x Hunter rant kind of took some time, but that's fine. So most iconic battles in anime history. There was a recent thread that I saw that had this, and it had a few of them up there. For me, and some of you guys may disagree, Goku versus Frieza, without a doubt, is one of the most iconic battles in anime history. Now, I say iconic specifically. I'm not saying the best. And the reason why I'm saying that is because those two things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. And I'm saying that for a reason. Iconic carries with it the implication that the moment itself, when it happened, created impact and influence. So for me, the definition of iconic, and I probably should I'm not even going to do it. The definition of iconic, what makes a moment iconic, is the level of impact, the timing in which it happens, and the level of influence it has going after it. And Goku versus Frieza came alongside a well-known anime now as Dragon Ball Z that brought anime into the States and made it popular. Although I would say it wasn't actually Dragon Ball Z, it was Akira. But that's a different conversation again for a different video. So for most of us, we got drawn in through anime, through Dragon Ball Z, because we were, again, as kids, the idea of dudes beating each other up, being able to fly, blowing stuff up with fireballs, and traveling different planets was something that drew us all in. Because we were used to regular cartoons. We were used to things like Hanna-Barbera stuff and like Batman and Superman and the old school joints. And when anime came out and it showed us a completely different thing, like, no, we can get gritty, we can get real, we can show people losing arms, we can show people blowing up, we can show people dying, we can also show hearts, we can show relatability, like that type of stuff. It drew us in. It drew us in. And Goku versus Frieza, for us in that moment in time when we first started watching anime, for some of us who started watching anime, we had never seen a battle have that high level of stake before. That for me to be a child and to have the short attention span that I already have, to have me watching such a long, and it was a long battle arc. So for me to watch literally tens upon tens of episodes of that, because I want to see how it ends, speaks to me how impactful anime was at that time. The level of impact that it had and everything past that. Everybody since that moment forward, not of every anime, But there was a bar set. Honestly, there was a bar set. There was emotion. There was grit. There was scenes, and there was character development. There were stakes, high stakes, and sorry, got hiccups. Like Goku turning Super Saiyajin or Super Saiyan for the first time was also in and of itself one of the most iconic moments in anime history, at least in the US. And as a result of that fight, the planet exploded. Now, that's more of a spectacle thing. I'm not really going to go too deep into that because we're going to talk about spectacle. Gurren Lagann has some of the most... If we're going by spectacle alone, Gurren Lagann has the best anime fight scenes in history. Pure bar none. For sure. They're like the platinum games of Final Battles. And that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, Goku turning Super Saiyan again was an iconic moment. You talk about the music, you talk about the draw, the slow pan up, the emotion, the moment, the foreshadowing prior to that, literally tens upon 20s, 30s of episodes before that about the legendary Super Saiyan. What is it? It's a myth. Is it not? Was Vegeta the legendary Super Saiyan? No, he wasn't. He got murked. And then when we were all kind of wondering, like, what is a legendary Super Saiyan? What does that look like? What would that even be? And then we see Goku, upon Krillin's death, all of a sudden his eyes go white, and then there's an explosion, and then it just happens before you realize it. Like, wait a second, this guy's hair turned blonde, his eyes turned blue. What? What just happened? And why am I so enthralled right now? Like, why is this amazing? Why is this fire? And that's what I'm saying. Carrying with it that moment, on top of the hype that was drawn up between these two characters, with Goku being in the pod for what felt like forever, with Frieza constantly changing forms, with Vegeta messing it up again multiple times, and with just the level of stake, because up until that point, when it came to those fights, who had been following the Dragon Ball Z series, you hadn't seen a character be that down. I mean, Raditz was for sure, but as the characters started to develop their powers and get better and better, we went from Raditz being incredibly like high level, whatever, to being a complete scrub by the end of that arc. And the level of progression happening, I'm not going to say naturally, but happening to the point where that Goku versus Frieza fight came to an absolute head is amazing. It's amazing. And again, the stakes were there. Gohan wanting his dad to be alive. Goku, prior to that point, just wanting to fight a challenging opponent, but now realizing he has almost an obligation to beat him, because if not, it's going to spell the end of his people. And although in the manga, you can make the argument that Goku never really cared about that, but in the anime, they did. They called him the defender of justice, all this other good stuff. So for us, like I said, as a kid, you resonated with that. And Goku, for us, was like, he was just that dude. He just wanted to throw hands, and he didn't care who it was against, and he always wanted to get stronger. And it was just seeing that battle for the first time as a kid and seeing everything that came as a result of that. To me, that's why I say Goku versus Frieza is the most iconic. It was not the best. Don't even get it twisted. It was not the best. That's why I'm saying there's a difference. Because from a technical standpoint, from a pacing standpoint, from all those other little intricacies of an anime fight, it wasn't the best. It was great, but it wasn't the best. And there were some moments that were just absolutely abysmal. The pacing was terrible. In the manga, it was a lot faster. But seriously, in the anime, they did everything they could. Because they knew the type of audience they had. They knew the draw. So they were going to pad it out for as long as they could. Dragon Ball Z was notorious for that. Absolutely notorious for that. But it was iconic. It was iconic because of what it brought. Because of what it took with it. It got America's attention. And it came with a bang. And because of that, you got guys who are from your, visually speaking, your geekiest, nerdiest dude to the hoodest brother you know. They all could come together and agree that Dragon Ball Z was that stuff. And the fact that you had an anime that was able to transcend that many demographics, young, old, black, white, just so far from so many different walks of life, everybody to be able to come in and say, yeah, DBZ was the GOAT, that says something. And that fight for me was the moment that kind of put that final nail in the coffin, I guess is the best word to describe it. It just kind of put that final bow on it. It kind of just put that. So that's why I say that. And if you disagree, you disagree. Feel free to let me know why. Lord. So these are my last two. last two topics. I'm gonna try and make these last two. Yeah, we'll go for it. A couple minutes over. So, Xbox versus PlayStation. So, as you guys may or may not know, Xbox and PlayStation are coming out with their newer titles. They're coming out with Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. And I just recently saw the tech demo for the PlayStation 5, and I'm telling you, I'm probably buying the PS5. I'm probably not getting the Xbox X. Now, the reason why I say that is because ever since this previous generation, Microsoft has been losing the console war. I know that sounds crazy to say, but hear me out, okay? Prior to that, when the Xbox first came out, it was going up against Nintendo, which was already an established product. I think at that time it wasn't Sega. I don't think it was Sega. I don't think it was a Dreamcast. I think the Dreamcast died before that. But it was going up against Nintendo, who at that time already had a long established line of making good quality product. And then they had PlayStation, who again also was along that line as well. They had to come in hard, and they came in with Halo, and Halo, you can make the case, was the reason why Xbox is still alive to this day, because Bungie just knew what they were doing. And I'm not going to go too deep into that. That's a deep dive. Then we get into the PlayStation 2, which is the highest grossing selling video game console of all time, which is hard to compete against. But then you come into the PS3 and Xbox 360. And when the Xbox, for me, I was an Xbox 360 guy. I was not a PS3 guy for multiple reasons. One, because of the aesthetic of the games, like the game systems. I like the way the Xbox looked more. But the biggest thing, honestly, was the price point. It was the fact that when PlayStation 3 first came out, it tried to make us buy dang near $700 products that had the crappiest release games up until that point that we had seen. They had that Gundam one, that really weird Gundam one. They had the other one. I can't even remember the name of it. They were just really broken, not good. They didn't really show off the tech like they should have. Really just really bad products. But then Xbox 360 came out at a much more accessible price point, which I would say slightly to above average, better release games. And they made their focus on the games. And their games were better. Honestly, I'll say that. Their games on the Xbox 360 were better. They were better to play. They were funner to play. Xbox Live was better to be involved with, because at that point, their PSN, whatever was going on with that, it was janky. It just wasn't really all that good. Their store was more accessible. They had more things to offer. It was at that time, Xbox 360 kind of took it by storm because of one thing. For most of us, was the price point. Regardless if you were a PlayStation fanboy or not, you had to agree that $700 for a released console was absolutely ridiculous. And nobody was going to pay for it simply off that alone. And then when people bought it, and then they got the games for it, and they saw that the games were trash, and they look across the table and they see Xbox 360 with Gears of War coming out. They see Gears of War, they see Lost Odyssey, they see all these different IPs wanting to promote their time, effort, and energy into that, and they see PlayStation 3 just spinning in the wheels. It's like, whoa. They showed off their product, and they showed it off well, and again they made it accessible. It was just simply for that reason alone. Now we fast forward into the PS4 and the Xbox One. Their press conferences. We see PS4's press conference, and they're showing us tech demos. They're showing us new games that they're coming out with. They're showing us IPs that we've all grown to love coming back with a vengeance. They're showing us controller design that's supposed to be more ergonomic, and on top. Controller stuff too. The Xbox 360 controller just felt better in your hands than the PS3 one did. It kind of felt cheap, kind of felt clunky. It wasn't as solid as the PS2 one was, even though PS2 at that time was still kind of cheap as well. But the PS3 just kind of, I don't know, it didn't really sit as well in your hands as it should have. When the PS4 comes out, their controller's a little bit better. They got more stuff available. Like I said, they're focusing on the games. These are game consoles that focused on the games. And that's why, and they were talking to a gamer fan base. They were talking to a gamer consumer base that was going to buy their product. When Xbox One came out and they did their press conference, you barely saw video games. You saw TV, you saw remote control, you saw the Kinect. You saw the Kinect. Like you saw a game developer, or not game developer, you saw a gaming company hardware company, doing everything they could to almost completely avoid video games, period. Forgetting that your main base was game people that were looking. The people that were coming to your press conferences weren't coming there to see what you were going to do with your Netflix account. They were going to see what games are you bringing, what specs are they going to have, how's the controller going to feel in my hands, what's the what is the multiplayer experience going to look like, what is your store UI going to do. That's what we were looking for. What are you bringing to the table that is going to make our gaming experience go to the next level? You barely even showed us games. You barely even showed us games, and you tried to pigeonhole the Kinect to us, which was absolute garbage. For those of you who had a Kinect, you know that the only thing you could really do with that was do dance games. That was it. Apart from that, forget trying to control somebody's actions. Forget voice control. Its detection was crap. Its ability to. That's why for me, motion-based gaming for me is just a waste of time. People are not buying video games to get on their feet and dance around. The casual gamer might, but those of us who want to engage in an experience that's not going to require us to lose 60 pounds just to play it, that's what we want to do. We're playing games as an escape from reality, and you're trying to force us into it. So that's a Kinect discussion again. For another discussion. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when the PS4 came out, like I said, it was focused on the games. They knew what their base was. It wasn't people that watch Netflix. It wasn't. Xbox One tried so hard to appeal to casual that they forgot that casual is not going to give you the consistent income that you're looking for. The Wii is a completely different example. They kind of went left and they stuck with it, and they're in their own lane. Xbox One tried to do that similar thing, but the problem is your branding and aesthetic up until that point was so hardcore gamer that for you to flip it up on us like that and turn us into a casual fan appeal, it was ridiculous. Like, it wasn't going to get anybody because the people that were there because they wanted to play video games. And when they look up and they see you barely got anything on there, and on top of that, the games that you provided were not really as good. Because PS4, you got The Last of Us, you've got Uncharted 4, you've got Persona 5, you've got games like God of War, you've got Bloodborne, you've got Dark Souls. And Dark Souls came out on both consoles, but the point is, you've got games like that are drawing fan bases in. But on the other side, you've got Sunset Overdrive and Splatoon. Not Splatoon. What was that? What was that really goofy one? I can't remember the name of it. But you got games like that, and it's like, like you really like. Why would I buy a game console to talk to it and tell me to play Netflix? I bought the game console to play games on it. What are you talking? What TV? What? What about TV? I bought a TV to play video games on. I'm not buying another I'm not buying another cable box, bro. And I think that's kind of where Microsoft kind of lost the edge. They lost the edge because they didn't focus on what they originally were, which was a gaming company. Microsoft's not a gaming company, but you get what I'm saying. Like, their gaming department was focused on gaming. Sony was. Microsoft didn't do that. They completely pulled a 180, tried to renege on everything, and then their DMR stuff, all that other crap about like you can't buy used games, you can't share any with your friends. Like, it was just so anti-consumer. It was so anti anti-gamer that fans were like, yo, are you serious? No. You're blocking used games? What? Are you serious? It looked like such a clear money grab that nobody was rocking with it. I mean, you have the hardcore fans that were still going to rock with it regardless. Well, not even some of them jumped ship. Like, you had some of the guys that were like, they're just stands and they're going to do what they're going to do and then whatever. But it was like, you look at the rest of us out here, the 75% that are looking at it and are going to help you reach that next fiscal quarter, like, yo, what are you doing? You're bugging. I'm not doing that. And then you see PS4, they might have learned from the mistake and be like, yo, we're not, the DMR stuff, take it away. Take away the DMR. Because they were like, yo, we're not doing all that. You can have used games. You can share some with your friends. Our live experience is going to be better than theirs. Our store is going to be better. Our UI is going to be better and more easier to interact with. We're not going to focus on TV. Because you got a TV. You got a TV to play our games. Here's our games. They rolled with that. And that's why I rock with PS4. They have better games, their intention was to appeal to my gaming sense as a gamer. So for me, this next series coming up, it feels like more of the same. Like PS4 kind of took it over, and I really don't see them. Xbox has got to come out with some fire, and I'm talking fire, because that tech demo I saw, woo, oh man, it looked crazy. It looked crazy, and it made me hyped to be a PS. I'm turning into a PlayStation guy. And then even when you look at like even the sales and the numbers, and that ultimately really doesn't matter. But the fact that PS4, or not even that, PS2 outsold more than all of the Xbox consoles combined, just speaks to kind of how much better, at least in this generation, it was. PS4 was just better. I know some of y'all who like that Xbox One liked it and rocked with it and whatever. I'm just telling you, it's hard to believe. I know you may not like this, and it's hard to believe, but PS4 was better, and those are the reasons why I say it was better. Now you can disagree. Feel free to disagree, because I wish I had Killer Instinct. I wish I had that on PS4. I don't. I know. Some of you guys' exclusives are games that I wanted, and I'm not going to get. I get that, but I'm willing to trade that off for a infinitely better experience as far as I'm concerned. And again, that's personal preference. But at least these are the reasons why I'm saying that for me, I'm going to say the PS5 is probably going to take the cake again. And I could be wrong. They might if they pull some shady stuff like Xbox One tried to do with us, I might switch right back over to Xbox. I'm going to be honest. Like I said, as long as they continue to do what they've been doing up until this point, as far as appealing to gamers primarily, I'm fine with it. I'm going to rock with them. So that was my little spiel. Yeah, it was terrible. Microsoft tried to treat their fan base like a secondary priority when the game console's primary function was to be a game console. That was crazy. I was still bugging when I saw that. I was bugging on that almost as much as when I bugged by the $700 price point. All right, so this is my last thing for today. I want to show y'all some Ghost of Tsushima. So for those of y'all who guys don't know, Ghost of Tsushima is a game that is coming out by Sucker Punch. I think it's Sucker Punch. Ooh, let me look it up. Ghost of Tsushima. Developed by Sucker Punch. Yep, it was developed by Sucker Punch. The people who made Infamous and other games like that. They came out with a game called Ghost of Tsushima, which is to me, it's a love letter it's a love letter to those old samurai movies that they used to watch back in the day, and I'll just explain it later. But it was shown during PlayStation State of Play. The expected release is July 17th. I hope my thing doesn't get flagged for this, but I'm just going to play a little bit of it. There's some gameplay stuff that I think you guys would enjoy. So here it is. Hopefully it's playing the audio. Yeah, there it is.
Hello everyone, I'm Jason Connell from Sucker Punch Productions.
So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit
today about Ghost of Tsushima.
Just so you guys can see some of the
smokestacks on the horizon, interesting and odd-shaped trees, or maybe even animals trying to get your attention.
That's cool. That's cool. Like see how beautiful that looks? And this is on PS4, by the way, so it's not PS4. And for someone like me who loves like Japanese aesthetics and like the ancient histories and stuff like that, like I love this. Stuff like that. Sorry. Yeah. More stuff like that. Look at that.
If you've ever seen a samurai movie, you know what to expect. Two warriors sizing each other up, waiting for the other
awesome.
to make the first move.
Fight me! Fight me!
Look at that. You guys see that? You see the little how it changes the letterboxing? Yeah, it's stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about.
As you can see, the Mongols are everywhere on this island. For Jin to succeed, he has to use real, skillful precision in fighting them. No wasted energy. Every strike must count.
Every strike must count.
Kind of got that Arkham Asylum feel with the game. You see that? You see his hand cut off? How bloody he looks. That's that thing. I don't want to take more from that. There's more. There's a lot more, actually. There's stuff like this. Yo, like, yeah, man. Yeah. You see that? Yeah. It's stuff like that.
Even select a track of music from our original score that might be a little bit more fitting. So if you're into doing a photo, or maybe you actually want to do a video,
this is them in photo mode, by the way.
Here's a few that I've created.
You can do like those. That's what I'm saying, y'all. It's a love letter to ancient samurai films, like the old school
select a
samurai
track of
films.
music.
Like, look at that. You can change the film grain.
That you can turn on from the very beginning of the game. Created a windy, black and white, film grained out mode that you can turn on from the very beginning of the game.
That's what I'm saying, man. They're doing stuff like this, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's nice. Just like, I never watched any of the old movies, but I've seen like YouTube videos and stuff. That's what it looks like. That is awesome. That's awesome. That's what I'm saying. It's just gonna keep going. That's what I'm saying. So that's why for me, that's one of the reasons why I'm hyped about this game, because I'm you can kind of get that vibe with certain game developers. Like, you can tell that they're putting some love into this. Like, it's not just a story, some random game that they wanted to tell because they think it's like the Japanese thing is in now. Like, you can tell, like, these people that have played these games, they've watched the old movies. Now, it's not going to guarantee the game's going to be good. What I'm saying is that they're doing a good job of hyping me up on it, because I remember when this the gameplay trailer, I think, first came out, I was already excited. Like, you taking a game like this, developed by game developers who I liked Infamous when it came out, and now they're creating a like, basically, like I said before, a love letter to ancient samurai films, or the old school samurai films, and you can see it clearly with the film grain and stuff like that. It's, to me, I can see the effort they're putting in, and I am hard pressed to believe it's not going to come out to be a good game. Now, I could be wrong. It might be wrong. The game might be trash, but I would say for now, I'm hyped for it. And like I said before, it's going to come out on July 17th of this year. So you best believe if I got the money for it, I'm going to be getting it. And I'll let you guys know what I think about it once I get it. But yeah, so that is it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be posting this later on, so you guys can look forward to that. But yeah, just let you guys know what you think. Are you excited for any of the stuff that I showed y'all? What are your thoughts on some of the stuff? Do you think that I'm wrong and all that? You know what I mean? That's why I said I titled this My Wrong Opinion, because as you guys have noticed, I said it, and I say it a lot. I could be wrong, and it's possible. I could be wrong. And that's kind of where I want you guys to come in. If there's any type of information that I'm missing, anything that I'm lacking, any type of alternative perspective that you want to show me that might change my mind, feel free to share it. Please feel free to share it. Comment in the video. Give me some resources. But here's the stipulation. You got to give me a source that proves what you're saying. not to say that you can't give your opinion. You can give your opinions, but if you're going to give me things that are going to try and prove my opinion wrong, you got to give me some information that's actually going to contradict that. And I will look at it, I will scrutinize it, and based off of that, I will let you know if it changed my mind or not. Now, if we were live, I would, well, we are live, but if you guys were in it and doing it, you would be able to comment and post that stuff in the chat, and I would look at it real time, look at it, look at the information, look at what you're showing me, and then I would say, okay, that's okay, I got you. So I'm wrong on that. And I would change my mind on it, or I would double down and be like, nah, no, I don't care what that's. Depending on what the information is. If the information is just irrelevant, I'll be like, yeah, that's irrelevant. But if you got some information that you can share with me that's going to help improve my opinion, please feel free. And that's why I wanted to ideally do this in a live format, because I wanted you guys to interact. But if not, that's fine. It doesn't matter. You can comment. It's the same thing. So yeah, that's all I got. I'll be doing another one again next. I'll try and do again next Tuesday. Honestly, I might just keep it on Wednesday. But yeah, look forward to another live showing up on Thursday on Periscope. If you got that, and or Twitter, it'll be on the same thing. And I'll post all my stuff in the description after I'm finished with the live. Also, if there's anything you guys want me to talk about next week, any information you want me to look up, please feel free to do so. Just send me the sources and I'll do that. Or I'll take a look at it at least. And if it's something interesting, then I'll be sure to share it next time. And also, like I said, if you guys want to join in and like share your thoughts on certain things, I always got the link in the description. And at times, even if there are guests in, I'll make sure to post that up as well. Yeah, feel free to engage, yo. So yeah, this was the first episode of My Wrong Opinion. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Tune in next week, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, take care.